If you've been in business for 5 years or longer, I'd like to congratulate you because only 50% of businesses last to the 5-year mark. What's more, only 35% of businesses are around after 10 years. If that's you, congratulations. That's remarkable. If you're an entrepreneur, you may have gotten into business not just because it provides a good income, but because the ultimate goal was to build an asset and sell your business for a significant profit. It's a goal that motivates many to go through the significant challenges that we face in business and makes it a worthwhile goal to achieve. However, the reality is far more complex. Selling a business isn't just about finding a buyer and cashing out. It involves meticulous planning, emotional resilience, and a deep understanding of the market dynamics. The journey from startup to sale is filled with unexpected twists and turns, requiring both strategic foresight and adaptability to navigate successfully. Imagine if you sold your house and still had to check in monthly, or even weekly, or daily with the new owner. Sounds crazy, right? But that's just the kind of twist selling a business can bring. As a business owner, sometimes it's hard to let go of your business completely. In this film, The Intern, Jules Austin, played by Anne Hathaway, remains deeply involved with her company after considering selling it. Even though she hires a CEO to help manage the business, she finds herself constantly drawn back into the operations and decision-making processes, showcasing how difficult it can be to truly let go. Just like how after being ousted from Apple in 1985, Steve Jobs eventually returned to the company in 1997. Even though he had sold all but one of his Apple shares, his deep involvement and leadership were crucial to Apple's resurgence and innovation. This video is part of an ongoing series from my book, How to Sell Your Business to Private Equity. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss this series. If you find this insightful, make sure to grab a copy of my book, How to Sell Your Business to Private Equity, for more in-depth guidance and tips. Hi, my name is Nick McLean with 4 Pillars Investors. Been in the private equity M&A space for about 20 years now and really have come to understand that there is a lot of misunderstandings and quite frankly, just a lack of knowledge around the process of selling a business, not just valuation, but all the different moving parts of this complex process. Wanted to create this video series to help demystify some of the process, to help shed some light on what is important versus what isn't important. Stay tuned as we'll be covering a lot of information in this multi-part series. Selling a business is unique. While it does resemble selling a car or a piece of real estate in some ways, it definitely has some very different elements too. When you sell your house, for instance, of course you want the new resident to be happy and all, but you certainly wouldn't want to have monthly calls with them to see how the new house is treating them. That's not how it is when you're selling a business. In many situations, you as the owner-seller will need to stay involved in the business post-close for some length of time. A deal like this isn't about cutting ties and moving on, it's more about creating a new partnership. Many folks I know start muttering under their breath when I mention partnership, and rightfully so. There are no guarantees in life, other than death and taxes, of course, but there are some strategies you can use to help improve your chances of picking a good partner, generally speaking, as well as a good partner for you. In this video series, my goal is threefold: to educate you as a potential business seller about what the process looks like, inside and out, to clear the air around the role that PE plays in the M&A ecosystem as a whole, and to help you improve the attractiveness of your business to PE. There is a lot of confusion and misinformation out there when it comes to selling a business. Who to sell it to, how to manage the transition, how much to ask, etc. As I've mentioned earlier, I've been in the trenches doing this work for a long time, and I still get thrown for a loop from time to time. So without further ado, let's answer some questions and start to demystify the process of selling a business. What to expect during the process. Much of what is contained in this section is relevant regardless of who you sell to. A private equity group, sometimes called a PEG, a strategic buyer, etc. So let's begin with some truths. First off, selling your business will be uncomfortable. It brings up all kinds of retirement type issues, like how you will spend your time and what your excuse will be when your spouse wants you to do a household chore, or likely a whole list of chores. This is a big subject, for lack of a better word, but there are plenty of books devoted to it, so I'll leave any further discussion on that matter to them. That said, if the idea of retirement is scary to you, then perhaps it is not the right time to sell. One piece of advice I will give is that it is imperative that you are committed to the process. If not, you will waste a lot of time and money and potentially burn a bridge with a potential buyer. It certainly isn't just about the retirement type issues though, not in the least, unfortunately. Be prepared for change. The new owner will do things differently than you. This probably won't happen right away, and at first the changes will probably be small, but there will be change. Prepare yourself for the fact that since you are no longer in control, change is coming. One area that is certain to change is the culture. Pegs will want to grow the company, and with growth comes increasing sophistication and bureaucracy. Decisions that used to be made over a cup of coffee might now be made at a quarterly board of directors meeting. Some employees will lament this change in culture, but it is a cost of growth. Another area of discomfort will be the fact that you will have to open the kimono like never before. Before the deal closes, the buyer will have scrutinized all your internal financials and tax returns, perform background checks on you and your key managers, and talk to a number of key employees, customers, suppliers, and service providers. I would be lying if I said all that is fun. A final challenging aspect is that there will be a lot of trade-offs and uncertainty. When will the deal close? Will it even close at all? What will it be like working with the new owners? What will the employees think of me for selling? I tell my wife often that working in M&A is like riding a roller coaster for the first time. You know there will be ups and downs, twists and turns, but it is hard to expect when they might come. Selling your business will take a long time. If done correctly, the entire process of selling your business might take several years. However, I'm probably talking about this differently than you might expect. I am not just talking about the time period from when you sign a letter of intent, LOI, to close. That could be a period as short as 90 days. Instead, I'm starting with the idea that you need to plan in advance of a sale. I'll talk about making your business more attractive to buyers in a later video, but for now, just understand that the most successful sellers are those that plan far in advance. I would break the process down into two stages, pre-LOI and post-LOI. The pre-LOI stage commenced when you formed or purchased the business. I say that only partly in jest. This part could be thought of as a marathon. As the last leg of the marathon approaches, that is when a shift needs to take place, if it hasn't already. Prior to this shift, it was perfectly fine to run the business as you saw fit. After the shift, the perspective needs to become more buyer-focused. What does a buyer want to see? What is a buyer concerned about? Now, as it relates to the post-LOI stage, I wouldn't describe it as a sprint, but it certainly isn't a marathon either. I would say perhaps it's a mile race. Have you ever watched a mile race at the highest levels of competition? Those people, men and women, run faster for the entire race than I could run in a sprint. So the pace is definitely fast, just not kill yourself fast. For most, M&A is not an area of expertise. Selling your business is not a real estate transaction. Even if you have done a business acquisition or 2 or 10, this process will be much different. Or perhaps it won't, but I would encourage you to at least prepare for a process that is unique. At this point, I will offer another piece of advice. Commit to spending money. I understand that no one wants to make attorneys richer than they already are, but the money you spend will be well worth it. All business owners, myself included, have reviewed a lot of contracts, perhaps even asset and/or stock purchase agreements. But too much is on the line here to take the cheap way out. Now, while I would advise you to spend money, one way to keep the total expense down is to take to heart the old adage, time kills all deals. There will be delays. The deal will seem to have died, perhaps. Some even say a deal has to die 10 times before it will get closed. But keep the pedal pushed to the floor. Force yourself to ignore the annoyance of the hurry up and wait experience. To the extent that timing is within your control, push forward. What are the biggest mistakes I see? We were working on a deal and the seller insisted on completing tasks sequentially instead of simultaneously. Additionally, we would turn over documents but not see responses for several weeks. Frustrating. This seller committed 2 cardinal sins in our view. 1, they wouldn't commit to spending a few $100s for an attorney, even though their company's revenues were over $100 million. And they acted as if they had all the time in the world. Unfortunately for all involved, that was not the case. In the period of a few months, the company's earnings dropped by almost 30%. Not only was the business now worth far less than it had been, but the whole deal was jeopardized because we weren't warned about the impending drop in earnings. 1. Be committed to the process. Every owner will transition their business at some point, even if it's on their deathbed. You might be looking forward to retirement or dreading it, but don't sell your business until you are committed to the process. 2. Prepare yourself for uncertainty, annoyance, and discomfort. 3. Accept that you are not an M&A expert and seek help as needed. That's what attorneys and other advisors are for. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to the channel for the next segment in this series, featuring info on the state of M&A, inside the process of selling your business, as well as just learning a little bit more about private equity buyers in general. Additionally, if you like this content, make sure you go down to the comments section where you can see a link to book some time with me directly for a consultation. We can talk about business valuation, what you've done to grow your business, or really anything under the sun business related, because I enjoy talking about it. Hope you'll reach out.